Well, training camp is technically over, and the Raiders are now into actual practice time here at the facility. That means we don't get to see as much out on the field. But Vinny, and this is Vinny Bonsignore with Adam Hill here at the Raiders facility, we did maybe learn one of the lineup questions we had coming into this season.
Yeah, no question about it. And sometimes you buy insurance and you don't really need it. And that seems to be the case with the Raiders when they signed Prince Amukamara, the veteran cornerback. It was for insurance that Damon Arnett, the rookie from Ohio State, wasn't going to be ready. Well, it looks like Damon Arnett is ready. He's been a hit of training camp all throughout, has been taking first-team reps throughout the entire training camp, and it looks like he's won the starting job because Prince Amukamara got released today.
Yeah, he's released. And another update with the cornerbacks, Raekwon McMillan, who has been out for a few days. That was definitely one of the projected starters. He is back at practice today. So looks like they have their starting cornerback tandem in Damon Arnett and Raekwon McMillan. Prince Amukamara leaves. But what does this leave the Raiders in terms of where they are with their corners? A couple of rookies, a rookie and a second-year guy, and then some real young depth behind them as well.
No question about it, and I think this is a good sign for Isaiah Johnson. He was drafted in the 4th round last year out of Houston. Missed most of the season after fracturing his face in the preseason. Then he had a back injury that plagued him the rest of the way. He had surgery. I talked to him this offseason. He was really raring to go. It looks like he's potentially won a job behind Arnett and Mullen. But also you have now LaMarcus Joyner and Amik Robertson in the slot. The question becomes, with Nevin Lawson suspended for 1 game, does Keyshawn Nixon make the team, at least for that season opener? You're probably going to keep 6 cornerbacks, I think, in today's NFL. That's a safe number to assume. The question is, who's going to win that last position? Because right now there's basically 7 that we're kind of looking at like as guys that can make the team, but 1 might be on the outside looking in.
Well, there you go. That is where we stand in the cornerback world right now in terms of the Raiders. But they're also made some additions to the linebacker core. We didn't get the chance to talk to you guys over the weekend. Raekwon McMillan comes in as a linebacker via trade. What does this do in terms of the linebacker depth?
Well, first of all, Raekwon McMillan just sounds like a linebacker name, right? And he definitely looked the part at practice today, big number 54, a big part of this whole transaction. The Raiders obviously go out and make the move to get Corey Littleton and Nick Kwiatkowski, but if you watch them and see them, you pretty much can realize or just see that they're light. They're not the biggest linebackers in the world. I think the Raiders felt like they needed to add some thump and some power and some girth, and that's certainly what McMillan brings. He's not the best in pass coverage, according to the grades that are out there, but he really is a very good run defender. And if you're only looking at him for 2 downs, 1 down type situations, depending on what is going on with the down and distance, then I think that he's a guy that's going to be able to add some value as a run stopper.
Yeah, certainly helps against the run. Kind of similar in the mold of Nick Kwiatkowski of what he brings. And they've got Corey Littleton to do a lot of the pass coverage in terms of the linebacker core. So that's where they stand. And a lot of the defensive positions as we enter, as we said, practice time, much more than training camp. So it didn't really feel that different because there was no games, anything like that. But it is a new phase for the Raiders as they gear up for the season. What are we watching for the next week or so before cutdown day?
Well, that is what we're watching is cutdown day. You've got Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I always say Pacific time. We always assume that the East Coast, all that nonsense. 1 p.m., that's what we're going to keep it at. Saturday, they have to be down to 53 players. Now, keep in mind there is an expanded practice squad this year. So 16 members of the practice squad will also be named within that next 48-hour period. I would expect a lot of guys that are here of this 80-man roster to be here in some form or another by the time practice squads are announced. But the point is, you have to get down to 53 by 1 o'clock on Saturday. There's some tough cuts coming. I mean, that cornerback room is promising, but there's probably going to be a good player that gets cut. And then you talk about, offensive line. I think there's a surplus of offensive linemen. There's probably going to be a good player or 2 that ends up on the street. So it'll be interesting to see how do you keep 3 quarterbacks? Where's Marcus Mariota health-wise? He wasn't out there again today. How many wide receivers do you keep? We could go on and on and on, but it's going to be a tough couple of days here for the Raiders as they dwindle down that roster to the 53-man limit.
There you go. well, we mentioned Trayvon Mullen was back. You said Marcus Mariota was not. Trent Brown also not on the field in the portion that we watched today. So that'll do it from out here at Raiders facility. Off day tomorrow. We'll be back with you Wednesday, getting you up to date on everything going on with the Raiders, and you can do that with the Review Journal through VegasNation.com and the Vegas Nation app. For Vinny Bonsignore, Adam Hill, Heidi Fang, we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.